welcome. By way of background, I was making a joke to Erez. Not only am I the president of Battlefin, but I'm also a customer of Lucena, which is a hair care commercial, you guys are hair growth. We've known each other a while. We use it. We think it's a phenomenal product. I really wanted to bring this together because I think with Evan here, it kind of showcases the power of Lucena and what they can do. And I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Tim. You know, a funny story about Tim. When we first met about 4 or 5 years ago, we met at his swanky apartment overlooking the Central Park. Sorry about that. And I told Tim about what we're doing, and he told me about his vision for Battlefin. And one of the comments he says, do not copy my idea. So I have enough trouble of my own, obviously, growing a business. But it's very complimentary to Battlefin. We're great to work with you and see how the business evolves. It's a great crowd, and we're excited to be here. Let me tell you about what we do at Lucena Research. We are an AI machine learning development company who basically connects multiple data providers with data intelligence seekers. What we do is we essentially apply machine learning to derive actionable information, not from a single data source at a time, but we combine a composite signal that is derived from multiple data sources that are totally orthogonal to each other. And we apply machine learning to do that. We validate, we enhance with feature engineering, and we create additional products to enable the data providers to find new market opportunities by which they sell their data. So today I'm really excited to have Evan join me here as we talk about some of the things that we've done together. It's a great partnership by which we have expertise in data processing of unstructured data and how we team up together to create additional products. And I'd love to show you some cases by which it actually works. We have customers together that are currently using our combined offerings, and it's really an exciting opportunity to build upon.
So, excuse me. I'm Evan Schnidman, founder and CEO of Prattle, and one of the things that we love about working with Erez and Lucena is we analyze the content of complex, nuanced, market-moving language. So central bank communications, speeches by corporate officers, earnings calls, anything that has traditionally been left to the domain of fundamental analysts. And we quantify that information through a proprietary sentiment analysis algorithm. We build a unique lexicon for each and every individual company, each central bank. We cover every company in the United States. And one of the things that we've been working on a lot lately is analyzing regulatory communications as well. And so we've done work with Erez and his team on FX trading signals based on our central bank data. We've done long-short strategies based on our earnings call data, and now we're actually working with Lucena to analyze 10K, use our analysis of 10K and 10Q data to really be able to develop really interesting short signals that can help people hedge their strategies.
Well, so here's the process. What we do at Lucena is we aggregate the raw signals. It has to be structured. It has to be mapped to tradable securities. That's the first layer. We do provide mapping and symbology as well, but the assumption here is that we can take data and quickly assess, number one, how mature it is, how ready it is for actionable insight, and does it have any information at all off the get-go. So we build a process called DQE. It's a data qualification engine. It takes the data as a raw format and provides immediately a forensic analysis report about the data. Correlation to returns, anything that you can think of from completeness, as well as in the context of survival buyership and other types of research that we do on the data immediately on the front. Of course, we create a backtest using our technology that gives you a quick visualization of how the data is kind of residing in the context of a correlation to returns. But that's just the beginning. Once we have that initial information, we go to the next step by which we create some sort of a feature engineering, value add kind of context to the data that's more friendly to machine learning. We look at how signals are related to point in time related to their peers. What's the ranking of that feature versus the physical absolute point in time? We look at alpha time decay. We look at different types of things that can provide daily sequential information about the strength of the signal. And then we apply, through our platform, QuantDesk, a pretty easy way to search for the proper signals, the proper features, and their min-max values that correspond to a specific universe of constituents and investment style, whether it's long-short, long-only, short-only, long-term, short-term, highly concentrated, highly diversified. We can create very quickly through a user interface on our platform the visualization of how that data historically translated to return. Obviously, that's just part of the equation. To create a true strategy for investment, you got to go to the next level. And I want to just kind of stop here and give you 4 examples of how we work with Prattle's data. And the idea here is to take the raw data that's being sold on its own merit to those who want to do their own research internally, but creates from that data 4 distinct products that opens up a complete new market opportunities for both our data partners and us. So let's go and look at the specific examples that we have here. The first one is a world index fund based on ETFs. And maybe Evan can give you some insight on what data we used for that specific strategy.
Yeah, so for this, we actually analyzed the content of every primary source central bank communication. So every speech, press release, meeting minutes, testimony from 20 central banks around the world. We focused on the G10 central banks, or I should say the G10 currency central banks for this strategy. And we've actually got a couple of clients trading on this right now, and it's doing quite well.
So that's just one example. Again, getting central bank information, combining it with some macro features that are not necessarily Prattle nature or natural features, combining multiple orthogonal data sources, and creating a really fantastic winning strategy. It's a long short. It's been doing, as Evan said, really well in real money, with real money as well. The second one is also a product we created together. It's called FX. It's an FX strategy. Again, FX pairs, G10, based on the exact same data. The central bank information can be a very telltale sign on the future currency value of various countries in the world. We, again, are able to exploit that with a long-short kind of pair strategy to get the arbitrage and create a compelling foreign exchange strategy. Next is earnings call.
Yeah, so for this, we're actually analyzing the content of every earnings call from every publicly traded company in the United States. So what we're actually doing here is providing not just a headline score that tells you how positive or negative that call was relative to all prior earnings calls from that company, controlling for known quantitative factors. So controlling for, did they beat or miss, what's guidance, ROI, ROA, ROIC. We're isolating in on the residual price movement unexplained by those factors, and then tying that to specific market response. And then Erez is taking that data and being able to develop an actual trading strategy based off of it.
So again, another example, we took the raw data, combined that with some fundamental technical rank features, some of the things that we have inherently in our database. But the differentiator is that quality added value that works really well in isolation, but works even much, much better when you combine multiple orthogonal data sources to a composite signal that provides much more information and predictability. And also, it's harder to recreate by the masses, provide some unique available offerings to the clients. And the last one is actually a new data that we just analyzed. And just to give you kind of a little bit of context to how powerful Prattle's platform is. We talked about incorporating 10K and 10Q maybe a couple of months prior to when they actually launched that new product. So very quickly, they were able to process the data, create actionable signals, and brought it to us for validation from scratch. And they have an amazing NLP technology that takes that kind of data and are able to kind of sift through the information and get more data. Maybe you can give them more insight on the data itself.
Yeah, so this is analyzing how similar or different one 10K or 10Q is relative to the prior one from the prior quarter or year. And basically, there's actually a great academic literature on this. It's a pretty strong short signal if there's a huge difference one quarter over the next. And I should also note, in the context of us being able to generate things quite quickly, the next thing we're actually rolling out here in a couple of weeks is analyzing press releases and other primary source communications directly on corporate websites. So effectively, we'll have complete coverage of every corporate communication from every publicly traded company in the United States.
And one question, I mean, I guess there's probably two sides of the audience. There's a fundamental side, and then there's a quant side. I guess with the data, is the delivery type different?
Yes. Yeah. So we deliver both via API, and then we have a front-end user interface. So our interactive portal has graphing and charting tools. We also are firm believers that essentially alternative data is fantastic. We live and breathe in that world, but it's a stepping stone to automating the research process, not just for quants, but for fundamental and quantamental analysts. And so we're trying to empower those people who might have been a little bit less quantitative in the past to actually be able to use a streamlined way of analyzing information that's more quantitatively rigorous. And so we've actually built our system around alerts as well. So email alerts, we even have a mobile application with native mobile alerts as well.
Great.
Just one quick, before we close the session here, I see the clock is ticking down on me here. What you see here is a long-short combination, just came out of the research labs of our company. As you know very well, those of you who are in the data business, it's very difficult to find short signals. It's much easier to identify long signals. We actually have found with this new data set a very interesting nuance that allows us to identify short signals. You can see it's a long-short combination, very nice, sharp. The performance is very much the same like the S&P total return, but with a much, much lower volatility, and obviously the sharp is much more robust here, and of course the beta is much, much lower. And that's of interest to a lot of, again, buy-side professionals looking for the next best thing.
Great. Well, thank you guys. And Evan and Erez will be over here on the left out the exit door if you guys have any questions. But thank you guys.
And if anybody wants our slides, just let us know. There are a lot more of them. So
great. Thank you.
Tim.
Appreciate it.